So it's 5 secrets to become a rocket writer. Writing a book in 24 hours or less. So the fact that you're here means this is your objective. And one of the reasons I am teaching this is because it's my lived experience. But many times writers tell me that, or aspiring authors tell me that they want to write, but they don't have any time. And so this system is for those who struggle with time, and you're saying you don't have any time to write. And I hope my experience and what I share will help you. So we're going to look at what does this presentation cover for this evening. I'm going to share my rocket writing journey. I'm going to share 5 secrets to become a rocket writer. And knowing me, you're going to get more than 5. And then I'm going to tell you about an upcoming rocket writing boot camp. And that's a paid boot camp and some bonuses that you'll be able to get. So you're going to get value. And I'm also going to be promoting a couple of things. So let's go. Who am I? I am Kamika Ruth Taylor. So I don't use the Kamika on my books anymore. I just say C. Ruth Taylor. It's still my birth name. If you're writing me a check though, don't put it in Ruth Taylor. Put it in Kamika Taylor. And I'm a Jamaican authorpreneur. Now that word is difficult for persons to pronounce, but it's just author and preneur from entrepreneur. It's really an author entrepreneur. So I leverage books to create both income and impact. So that's what entrepreneurship is about. It's really about the leveraging of the books to create, you're monetizing your books and using the books to push anything else that you have. And I'm a book writing, I call it rocket writing coach, and self-publishing coach. Author of 20 books. Those are the ones that are finished and I'm using them in programs or selling them. I have another 6 that I have to decide when I'm going to release those. And I'm also in the process of writing other books for this year. So 20 years in education. I'm doing a doctorate in transformational leadership. I have a master's in theology and a diploma in teaching from Michael Teachers College, now University College. And I went to Jamaica Theological Seminary, so I have a BA in General Studies. 2-time Amazon bestselling author and the CEO of Extra Mile Innovators. It's a book-centered business for transformation where we teach persons to write, publish, and leverage books to transform lives, to launch their businesses, and to create sustainable income for retirement. I'm the creator of the Entrepreneur Secrets Academy. So that's the online learning platform that I created to offer my courses and training programs and do some coaching. And I have been book publishing for myself since 2016. In 2015, I was published through a publishing company, but since 2016, I started doing it for myself. All right, a little bit more about me. So how did I become a rocket writer? In 2014, I was engaged to be married for the 2nd time, and the engagement fell through. This is after my wedding dress was bought and hotel booked, the church booked, my bridesmaids chosen. I bought my wedding dress. And you know, it was just a devastating experience. And I wanted to give up. And I remember listening to a teaching by John Piper, and he said that we should not waste our pain. And one morning when I was praying, I remembered a quote I read in a book as a teenager, and it was by William Barclay, and it said, endurance is not just the ability to bear a hard thing, but to turn it into glory. So I was 33 at the time, and this was run about April, and my birthday was May 9. And I kept praying, and one of my mentors said, you know, writing is therapeutic. Maybe this is something you could do and write about the women of the Bible and what they went through, blah, blah, blah. And instantly, I knew what I needed to do, that I would turn this into glory by writing. Now, I was told that I could write 10 years before by one of my lecturers and a friend. She wrote in a book that she looked forward to seeing my books in the future, but I didn't believe I could write. I did not. Yeah, writing, you know, you have authors in a particular category. So I didn't think I was one of them. I'm not Shakespeare, I'm not a wordsmith. So my words, even though I write poetry sometimes, but I don't have that kind of way with words. So I put it on hold. I thought about it, and instantly I knew that the time had come to write. And I felt like God was saying, share your story. And I just started writing. And within 11 days, I wrote almost 68,000 words for my autobiography, Heartache Queen Unshackled. And I did it in time for my 34th birthday. And at the end of it, I was like, if this is possible, what else is possible? So I'm like, I didn't know I had it in me to just write so many words. And it took about 9 months after, in terms of the publishing process, polishing, editing, rewriting aspects of it. But the first draft was finished quickly, enough that I could send it to a publisher and it was approved. And I was told that it was good, and others looked at it, reviewed it, and said, you have something here. So I know you can write fast. I want you to fast forward now to 2018. November 2018, I started a group called October 2018, Indie Authorpreneurs. And by that time, I had written 2018, yes, 4 books. And I was talking to a friend, I'm saying that I'm writing and publishing books quickly, that I had just written a book in 10 days, about 40,000 words, a little bit over 40,000, and I had published it in 60 days. And she said, you know, you should teach a course on that, idea to manuscript in 30 days. I did not think I could teach the course yet. So what I decided to do was to run a trial. So in the group, I had what I called my idea to manuscript 30-day challenge, and I decoded my process, shared it, and members were excited. And one particular member, he struggled with procrastination, but he was able to finish his book in the 30 days. He wrote over 40,000 words, and he went on to write 5 manuscripts in a year and publish 2. Another friend of mine, within the first couple of days, she was writing a lot. And she ended up finishing her book, not in the 30 days, but she wrote maybe 40,000 words within 59 days, because we were counting. And then she had to rewrite, and we cut that down. So what was happening at that time when I ran the challenge was that I was writing fast. So within the first 3 days of the challenge, I didn't want to tell the group members, I had actually finished a book. And by the time the challenge had finished, I had written 3 new books. And we're talking the first draft here. There are persons who write clean first drafts, but these would later be cleaned up. And I was like, wow. And into 2019, by about June 2019, I had written maybe about 3 other books. So this is about 6. And then I said, you know, for my 40th birthday in 2020, I want to do something phenomenal, something that would take me to the next level. And if you want to achieve something extraordinary, or you want extraordinary results, you have to do something extraordinary. And I said, you know what, I'm going to write more books. So I challenged myself to write 20 books in 1 year, because I wanted 20 books for 2020. I wasn't sure initially if it was 20 new books or just to make sure I have 20 books, which meant I only needed 16 more. But I challenged myself, and I finished 20 new manuscripts. And then I started publishing them. By the end of 2019, I had published 6 books in 1 year. And then in 2020, on my birthday, I launched another 7. I launched 7 books. And yeah, that's my story. And so in that period, this is key now, in that period, instead of trying to write 50 to 60,000 words, I decided I was going to follow the book of Ruth, the principle there, and write small books. And I discovered that in the nonfiction world, nonfiction readers don't want big books anymore. They're turned off by big books. So they're looking for books that solve a particular problem, and it should be, and they're writing anywhere between 10 and 30,000 words. 25,000 words is a sweet spot, and you can get some spine with that. So during that period, I was writing 2 to 3 books per week. And I'm going to share how I was able to do that. So that's my journey, my rocket writing journey. So as I said, I'm an entrepreneur. I teach people to monetize their books, how to publish affordably. And that's another story. But through my Entrepreneur Secrets Academy, I teach people all of these things. So what's the first secret? Number one is to believe that it is possible. There are many persons that they think writing has to take a long time. There was an era called the pulp fiction era where people used to be writing very fast. So it's not a new thing. And there are those who question if you write fast, if it is of good quality. I'm not going to argue with them, because some believe you need to write slow and let it emerge like fine wine. And the longer you take, the better. There's a different school of thought. There are authors writing and publishing a book a month, and novels, and we're not talking 20 or 30,000 words like me. They're writing 50, 60, 70,000 words, and it's part of their publishing model, and they're writing series, or they do collaborative writing. But that's what they're doing. They're writing to market, and it works. So you have to believe that it is possible. You don't have to take 30 days, 2 years to write the book. And when we're talking about this, we're talking about the first draft here. There are authors though who write clean first drafts, like Dean Wesley Smith. When he's finished with his first draft and he writes like a book a week, when he does that, it just goes to the editor after, and it's not a lot of edits. And so I'm not the only one. And there are those who are writing a book in like 2 hours, those shorter books though. So one secret is to believe it is possible. I'm doing it. I'm not exceptional why this is happening. There is kind of like a scientific method that you can use to do it, and I've replicated the process. The second one, no, the secret, no, how is it possible to write fast? So even though I wrote fast, notice that it was my autobiography. I was writing about 33 years of experience. And so it flowed naturally. All I needed to do was to organize it properly, and that I did. I organize it. So rocket writing is for those who are familiar, especially nonfiction authors. You're an expert in the field. This is something you know. Maybe it's your autobiography, so you know your story. It's something you've been teaching for years. It's something you're passionate about, you're knowledgeable about, so that you can write most of it from your head with minimal research. Or you are doing it collaboratively, different persons writing different pieces of it. So the secret there is it's your expertise. It's something you're knowledgeable about. So teachers, pastors who teach in series, and speakers, the subjects that you're speaking about. So like Joanne could write a book easily on ethnodoxology or culture and music. So it shouldn't take long once it's organized, because she's been in the field for a while. You could write a book about your experiences. And in my book, The Rocket Writer, I share 12 book creation ideas. So I just want you to know that's a big secret. You see, when we say your expertise, I don't mean you have a degree in it. It means it's something you really know about. It's if we can pick your brain easily about it. And yes, so that's one of the secrets there. Secret number 3 is not actually writing your book. When I did it the first time, the 68,000 words in 11 days. I wrote on paper, I wrote on my computer. So that was writing, and that was still fast. Now, when I did the rocket writing 20 books in 1 year, I did a hybrid method where I use my phone to speak my book. I also did like presentations on YouTube where I did it in series, and then I just downloaded some of those presentations and I transcribed them. So I found that in 10 minutes or 30 minutes, I could get 6,000 words out. And I just used my phone. I used Google. I started using the Google text to speech or speech to text. Then I downloaded an app called Otter AI. And that particular app, which I would advise persons to get, what it does is that it transcribes and records, and you can correct, you can edit in it. So I transcribed. Of course, there's a method to doing it. You don't just start off just speaking your book and it just flows. I had to listen to how this thing, I had to teach myself how to do it, and I had to put myself in a particular frame of mind. And after a while, I got used to it. It is still not something I do a lot, but I use it, especially if, I remember when I was writing Fearless 40, I was in the washroom washing, and ideas just started flowing. So there was no time to go write down anything. I grabbed my phone and I just started speaking the ideas that came to me. And of course, Otto was transcribing it. Then I came back to my computer, polished that. So that's a big part of my strategy. I'm checking in with those who are watching in the group on Facebook, and I'm seeing the comments. I'm going to pause in a short while, but I want to get this out because, you know, the internet's been giving trouble, so I want to get the secrets out. Hi, Teddy. Back to my computer, polish that. All right. That's a big part of my strategy. Let me come out and mute. I'm sorry. I'm seeing the comments. I'm going to pause. Sorry about that. I'm going to admit someone in and then resume. All right, so that's what happens sometimes when you're trying to manipulate devices. All right, so let me pick up back with the next secret. I think I lost some of my tracking there. Let me know if you're still seeing my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay. What has happened is that the Facebook feed, something went awry there, but I'll pick it up back. All right, so that's the third secret. And so persons who write fast, many of them, what they're doing is speaking their book, or they call it dictate the book. And they use different programs, like Drag and Dictate is a popular one, but that one doesn't have the, like Otto would have the, put in the punctuation marks. Drag and Dictate doesn't do that. So you have to, similar to Google speech to text, you have to say new paragraph, full stop, comma, as you go along. Otter AI, you don't have to do that. So I really love it. But you don't only have to do that. You can do that, the same presentation like I'm doing now. You can record it on Zoom or on your computer and then transcribe that. So what I'm actually doing here is one way that you could speak your book once you've already organized it, which leads me to secret number 4. Those who write fast like myself, they write with an outline. So you create a book outline. You're not doing like Dean Wesley Smith, who writes in the dark. He just gets an idea what he wants to write about, and he will just write, and it comes out almost perfect. But if you're gonna write fast, like I do, 2 to 3 books a week, 10 to 30,000 words in 8 hours, then you need to outline the book. What you want with the topic, and I break that down in the Rocket Writer. I share my strategy. I haven't hidden anything in there. And when I do my boot camps, I share the strategy. So in one of my boot camps held in February this year, a friend of mine, she's a missionary, so she wants to write a book on missions experience, and the book is called On a Mission. So we created the outline in the morning. We were up by UTech, and I decided to run. It's supposed to be 8 hours, but it ended up being 6 hours after you take out the break and lunch. In about 6 hours, we were able to go back through her book outline, and she was able to speak her chapters. And she got, when we looked at it, was about 17,000 words. And she had, I think, 7 chapters, and she finished 6. And she said she wanted to write one of those chapters because she had some pre-existing material. And she did it. There are others. I remember another friend of mine, she's in our Authorpreneur Secrets group. Within 20 minutes, she had 3,000 words done. Of course, I teach them how to prepare before. And the final secret is this one: free writing, meaning you're writing without editing. Many of us who are educated and are teachers, you write stuff and you go back and you're trying to edit. When you're editing, you're using a different side of the brain, the more logical side. When you're just writing, it's the more creative, free-flowing side. So when you pause to edit, you're interrupting the creative flow. And so you practice what we call free writing. Again, you know what you're writing. So you time yourself and you say, in the next 15 minutes or hour, whatever time you set, I'm just going to write this chapter. You would have done your preparation. Like for this, I'm giving this presentation and all I have are just some key points on the slide. Everything else is coming from my brain. You can write your book chapters the very same way because I know this material. It's my experience. It's what I've read. It's what I've done. So I don't write out my entire presentation. I have the points and in my head I organize it. And you write without editing, without thinking about it. So those are 5 of the secrets that helps you to write like a rocket. Question time. The floor is open. And then I'll go back and talk about the upcoming boot camp and the bonuses. But those are the secrets. And this is my friend Davia that I spoke about. And she was shocked at how much she was able to do within that 6-hour period.
Wow. Kamika, I jump in right in because I can't really stay till the end. But first off,
Right.
excellent presentation. This was, I think you need to also teach how to give an excellent presentation in under 20 minutes. You gave us a lot of content in that short space of time. I want to understand the interplay between the outline and the free form writing because, you say it's important to outline and be logical, but at the same time, when you're doing the chapter, you're supposed to flow. So is it that when you're writing a chapter, you refer to the outline so you know what you're supposed to be saying, or are you just to free flow it first? If you get what I'm saying.
You can do both. Like for me, I would like this presentation. When you're prepping the chapter, so you outline the entire book, everything that you think you want to put in the book. All right. So let me answer quickly. You outline the entire book as in you do a brainstorm to see everything that you need in the book, right? Then you organize that into a little table of contents. Then your chapters now, you jot down points that you want to include in your chapters. Just give me feedback so that I can know that I'm still on.
Yes, it's still on, Kamika.
All right, good. So just like I did this presentation, you may have jotted down a couple of points in the chapter. So this could be a chapter in a book called maybe 5 Secrets to Writing Fast. All I did was just jot down the points on the PowerPoint. So what I do now is just to speak. And you can speak the book as if you're having a conversation with someone, like I'm having a conversation with the group.
Mm-hmm.
So your book tone now becomes very conversational.
Mm-hmm.
So the points I made for this PowerPoint would be like the little points you make for your chapter to make sure you cover those things. And I teach in my boot camps how to make sure. I have a particular technique I call the Sealy technique that I use so that you know what is the major emphasis for this chapter. And you would have prepared and said, in this chapter, I must make sure I include XYZ. So now you just speak your book as if you're doing a presentation or talking to a friend. Does that help?
Yes, that helps. But I guess sometimes too, the free flow mind will find points that your logical mind did not find. So I guess what I'm saying is there could potentially be a danger if you say, oh, I'm going to write these 2 points or 3 points. When you're flowing, you're supposed to allow yourself to flow and then check back
Right.
the outline sometimes, because your free flow subconscious mind would make up with points you didn't even think about in your
And
outlines, which I
that's
guess.
okay. So I teach persons to be flexible with your outline. You're not a slave to your outline. I like to give the example of how, when I was writing Design to Win Roadmap, there was a chapter on keys to win at life. And what happened is that when I started writing that chapter, I should have only had 21 keys to win. You know what happened? I could not stop writing keys to win. I ended up with 100. So I had to pause the first book, and this was supposed to be a chapter. That chapter became a new book. And that book ended up coming out before. So you're not a slave to your outline. You are free to add stuff and take out stuff. So the jotting of the points, you can do that before just to help you, because the truth is, maybe because of my memory system, once I jot down the points for the chapter, I just take up the phone and I just start talking. I may glance back at it, but not very often. And I time myself. I say, I'm going to do this for 15 minutes, take a break. Or I have entire weekends that I dedicate just to writing. So I eliminate distraction. I schedule the time. I pre-prep my meals. Or I call my mom or my brother and say, I'm writing this weekend. Can you send dinner or lunch? Because I don't want to interrupt the flow. But I've had occasions where I said, okay, for half an hour this morning, when I was writing those 20 books, I'm just going to get this out. And I'm not looking to write it perfectly. That's the editing phase. Right? So I see hand raised. So did I answer that?
That would be me.
Okay. Hi.
No,
Hi, Mrs. Hines. Welcome.
I'm in Texas, and I'm really busy. I actually have 2 jobs. I teach and I work in a bank, and I have 2 dogs, which are like, say, 2 children. Okay. Right. I am really worried about where do I find time to do this, and I would like you to help me address that problem, because I really do have a full life. You have no idea what it took to get to this webinar.
Okay, so thank you for that. And that is why we created the rocket writing strategy and talking about speaking your book. One of the authors that wrote his book, he has 4 children. One is, at the time when he was writing, maybe 3 or 4 months old, a full-time job working as a probation officer. He's also a reverend and doing a lot of stuff. And he found the time to write. We all have 15 minutes. We all can carve out 15 minutes. So one of the secrets that I didn't share, or the method, is time blocking. So the same way you carved out the time to come to this webinar, you carve out time to write. I call it time blocking, just like you would be carving out time to go to the doctor. So it has to be intentional. If it is 15 minutes, you can find it's 15 minutes. So you would have prepped your chapter and you say, I'm going to speak or just physically write for that 15 minutes, and you get it done. So we all have time. The issue is what we do with our time. So you have to time block. The Nobel Prize laureate, Toni Morrison, when she had her children and she had a full-time job, what she did in writing her famous books is in 15-minute time blocks. Like I said, in 15 minutes you could get, if you speak your book, like this presentation was about 20 minutes. If I were to transcribe it, I perhaps would end up with about 3,000 words. It's the very same thing that you do. So it's not so much of a time issue that you need to take an entire day. You could take 15-minute blocks. So a lot of us, we scroll on Facebook, we do different things. It could also be, there are persons who write when they are walking. So they speak their books on their walks. So they combine the activity. Like I said, when I was doing washing, in the washroom, the ideas came and I just grabbed my phone and started recording the ideas. We all can find 15 minutes. We're not that busy that we can't get 15 minutes by ourselves, whether in the bathroom, whether in the car. So you can write in 15-minute blocks. And in 15 minutes, you can get, on average, I find that those that I train are getting like 1,000 words out. So if you were to schedule 10 15-minute sessions, then you could get a book of 15,000 words, a small book. So it is possible. And people are doing it. So it's not so much a time issue. It's about blocking the time, even as little as 15 minutes, and get some writing done. Does that help, Miss Andrea?
Does help a whole lot. I write for a living. I write reports, technical reports. And so I guess, yeah, the writing is not the problem. It's actually the time. Thank you. That does give me something to think about. Thank you.
You're welcome.